G'day, welcome back to the SCP show for round 5. I'm joined by these two guys. Damon, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad, Paige. How are you?
Look, I've been better. There's been a bit of carnage this week.
Yes, there has been. The rucks especially, yeah.
It has. And of course, Cameron Wood to my left here. Mick, we'll get there eventually. Sorry, Cameron. Mick, sorry.
One of the two is fine. I'm all right with that. Look, I've had a good week. Thanks for asking.
That's good.
And I've made a couple of good trades. We'll talk about them later in the show, though, I think.
And look, in regards to how we all scored this week, I'm just going to kick us off and say I scored a pretty poor 2006 points. Bit of carnage my way.
Yes, I can't say the same. I had a bit of carnage, yes, with regards to Mumford, but was again the highest scorer of the week. I told you guys to watch out.
You're making a good comeback.
I am. After that chocolate hat, I devoured it. So, good comeback. And I scored 2-1-9-8. So, not too bad given the carnage, and I escaped most of it. So.
Don't yourself?
Look, I scored 2-0-5-3. Which is, again, not too bad, but I'm building. You guys wait, the 2300, 2400 score is coming.
Oh.
We'll wait for it. We can get sold in.
Famous last words, but, Matt's, he's chickened out again. It's twice now. He's scored 1935, so... Ooh, Joyce.
There's a bit of a running theme as well, because both weeks he's missed out were both weeks where he was the chocolate hat wearer.
I reckon we need to fly him down for next week's episode and get him on the show and have a good stern talking to him. But without further ado, the very first segment is For Ruck's Sake. And it was an absolute week of carnage with Mumford being a late withdrawal. We also had Tom, we had Tom Hickey, who was a late withdrawal. And our backups, Derek's 39, Curry got a late withdrawal as well. Grundy was subbed out.
Grundy was subbed, Derek's was subbed as well.
Nick Nat Newey's out of form.
It's as if the coaches got together and said, hey guys, let's just stuff up the entire week for all the super coaches
and,
out there.
Who else we got? I mean, even, Cox is out of form, Minson's not doing great.
Goldstein.
And Goldie's probably thereabouts, but he's been a bit speculative with the way that they've used Curry as his backup. So it's a bit all over the place.
The good news is there are options that you can replace these players with. Now, I mean, my personal opinion is don't trade out Mumford. That's my personal take on it, and I know you guys have very different opinions to me.
Because he doesn't have him, that's why.
But I mean, then again, I'm not the chocolate hat of the week, or neither am I the top scorer of the week, Damo.
So who's our first player?
The first one that you have to get rid of if you have him, and if you did get him, unfortunately, it was a bad decision at the start of the season. Matthew Loinberger. If that's how you say his name.
Lewin, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to say names. I think we've established I'm pretty bad at that. So he was 430,000 now, and he's gone down a lot since the start of the season. And he averaged 59.25, so probably a bad decision to have gotten him in the next at the start of the season. His next 3 doesn't matter because he's not in for the next 3. He's out for what, 12 weeks?
12 weeks, 3 months.
Weeks, so not a great situation to be in if you've got him. Possible sort of downgrades for him is probably the next one we're going to speak about. Damo, you're covering that one, aren't you?
Yes, I am. He goes by the name of Brady Grundy, and he's escaped a bit of the injury carnage, but he hasn't escaped the poor form, unfortunately. He's only averaging 64.5, and his break even he faces 94, and when your break even is far outweighs your average, that's when it's danger territory and he starts losing money, of course. His next 3, he's got North Melbourne, Essendon and Carlton. So, I don't know, it really remains to be seen if he can turn around the form. But, as I said, he's escaped the injury carnage.
He did have a stinker on the weekend, and probably a good thing to note as well for Grundy owners out there. Jared Witts was named to play alongside him, and Jared Witts had over 100 points for the first time in his career. Shit. So, probably something that's... I mean, look, if Buckley does play them both together, it's not going to be really a positive sign to Grundy. I think the couple of weeks where he was scoring in the 80s, he was rucking by himself and he wasn't, having anyone take points off him. But look, if you've got him, he's a safe option at the moment because he's, although he's not really scoring very highly, he's not really setting the world on fire either. But we've also got Nick Nat Newey, who's 438,000, average of 62, break even of 153. Port Adelaide, Carlton, Fremantle faces. That's if he actually does, because he looks to be carrying, that groin injury. I don't know, he just doesn't look right. What do you think?
Look, I mean, Nick Naitanui is such a freak, but I don't think he's going to score great, unfortunately. That's just based on opinion. What would be interesting to look at is how he's gone against Port Adelaide, Carlton and Fremantle, and whether he's probably the best option to get in for Mumford, because out of the trade options, I'd probably personally only go for either Grundy or Cox. They're my top two.
I mean, even then, when we're going to talk about Mumford later on in the show, but at the moment, I'm in the same boat as most. I've got Mumford and I've already got Sandilands, but again, we'll be talking about more of the ruck options later on. But Goldstein, someone to really look at, doesn't have that horrible round 8 bye that Jacobs does have, which is something else to consider. I mean, we will look at that moving on, but
But just quickly on Nick Dunn as well, we spoke the other week about his lack of marking.
Yep.
And saw on Footy Classified, Gary Lyon, he said a stat, I don't know it off by heart, but it was something silly like he's only had 2 marks in like 3 or 4 weeks, which is pretty alarming.
Wow.
So there you go, something's up there.
Butterfingers.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's for a
just
bloke of his size
and
athleticism, you'd think you'd be able to get around the ground and.
But even then, he's not really pushing forward to that extent and having an impact either. Yeah. So that's probably where it comes from as well. But moving on to our trade debate segment, having a look to start off with, who have we got?
Well, it was my man Piers Hanley, actually. Now, unfortunately, he went down with an injury. And they're saying, up to 4 weeks out?
Yep.
2 to 4. So, look, it's not. Don't go crazy trading him out straight away. And Piers Hanley, obviously, at 515 grand, average of 91. Now, next 3 is probably not relevant, seeing he's probably not going to be in. Richmond, St Kilda, Sydney. He'll potentially get back for Sydney. I don't think it's danger crazy trade out stations just yet. With Pierce, but if you do want to trade him out, and now I've got to admit that I did this week, you can trade him for Sean Burgoyne. He's at 503,300, so you get yourself just a little bit of cash, but he's averaging 109, which is huge, which is pretty good.
That's better than his average last couple of years.
Yeah, his BE is 75, so that's quite high. That's quite low actually. Sorry for his average. Yep. His next 3: Geelong, Richmond, St Kilda. The Hawks predominantly, historically play well in the last couple of years against Geelong, so expect him to have a good game there. I reckon. The other trade options might be there.
Cash grab.
I reckon. What about Matty Jench? Is he?
That would be a very good option, and that is actually the option I have taken. So Matty Jench is in my team now, 414,100. You make yourself 101 grand. So
it's pretty good. Good crash grab.
To be fair, probably get on that if you haven't already. If you've got the trade to make, get yourself 100 grand, bank it in, boom. Well, next round, get Selwood.
He's averaging as much as Burgoyne, and he's just under 100 grand less than Burgoyne.
So why not? Speaks for itself, I reckon.
And he's been backing up with good form as well.
And the next 3 Adelaide have got as well are GWS, the Bulldogs and Melbourne. So it's a pretty good 3 weeks ahead there for the Crows before they head into that round 8 bye. But who have you got for us?
Yeah, so I've got Brett Delidio. He's been on the sidelines for a couple of weeks now, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, a couple of weeks, and he's still listed as week to 2 weeks away, and he's priced at 558,800. And he was averaging quite well, 114, and his break even still lowish for his standards at 83. But I think people probably would have traded him out already. If not, they probably would have been banking on him coming back.
Yeah.
Probably last week or
and
this coming week.
And Achilles, you never know with an Achilles. He could be out for a couple of weeks. He could be out for a couple of months.
Yeah,
so.
you just don't know when he's going to come back. So to trade him out, other options, there's Josh Kennedy, 558,000 even.
Form.
So he's pretty much exactly the same in terms of pricing. Averaging 109, his break even is 113. So I don't know if you can afford to wait a week.
He's back-to-back scores of 110 plus, so he is scoring well. JPK is enjoying that sort of role. So, and a bit of a smoky as well. A couple of the top teams this week had him, so I don't mind him. I think he's a really good point of difference almost in the midfield.
It's a bit strange. There's a bit of a point of difference considering probably in previous seasons he's been such a high scorer, but last year he was a bit down on form, so I think that's probably the reason why. But his next 3 faces Fremantle, Melbourne and Brisbane. So Melbourne and Brisbane, you'd think that he'd absolutely annihilate them.
Exactly. And looking at Tom Mitchell from the Sydney Swans, $424,200. He's currently averaging 76 SuperCoach points and has a break even this week of 111. Scores of 55 and 59 in the past 2 weeks. He has just absolutely, he looks horrible. He looks completely out of form. He looks lost. I mean, he started the season really well and we thought, okay, fantastic. You know, those of us that chose him over Parker looked like it was going to pay dividends. But at the moment, I mean, I'm currently a Mitchell owner myself and, you know, he's dropped 26,000 in price. He's going to drop again, but he's down towards the bottom end of that $400,000 mark, which makes him, you know, almost, he's in no man's land. There's really no one to really trade him up to in terms of premiums. And, you know, he's giving a lot of people the irrit, so probably someone to consider trading this week. But if you are looking to trade him out, I think the most informed thought of the last 2 weeks in terms of who's thereabouts that you can afford is Alex Fasolo. $213,600, average of 89 and a break even of -59. He's going to jump up hugely in price this week by 50 grand. Next three, the Pies have got North, Essendon and Carlton. You know, he's had back-to-back scores now of solid numbers, 72 in his first game back against Geelong and 106 on the weekend. Expected to rise, you know, 56,000 as I said, but, you know, I'm a little bit antsy over it. We were saying pre-show that the Pies do have quite a few players coming back into that back line, and I think if Fasolo is pushed out, in which he actually may, he's going to move back to that forward pocket role alongside Jamie Elliott, and I think that's where we're going to see his scores diminish again. I mean, he was scoring around that 70 points back in when was his last full season, 2012. So the form is there, but it is, you know, important to keep an eye on. We've got Reid, Brown, Marley Williams, Paul Seedsman coming back into that side already. That's 5 players. So, you know, that also has ramifications for Tom Langdon, who might get pushed out of the side and the like. So it is something to consider if you are buying him in. But at the moment, based on form and based on fitness, he stays in the side. But if you're looking long term, you may have to consider that he might only reach that 350 grand mark, and you may have to offload him again, which is almost a double trade.
Look, but it's potentially worth it though if you're sort of going for the cash grab, whether you're doing it or not. That's pretty much your only option there with Mitchell, unfortunately, and I'd suggest go for the cash.
You have to, yeah. And if you can bank yourself some cash along the way, you just have to keep in mind that, you know, if you're trading for solo win to get yourself a quick cash grab, he's probably only going to get max to $400,000 max, and I think he's probably going to finish around that 320 to 350 mark, and then you're paying another trade again to get another premium. So you have to look at it like that.
The one thing I like about this trade, which is what I'm exactly going to do, for the reason that in getting that price grab of 200k, you're then not forced to cut one of your cash cows prematurely. Yeah,
exactly.
Which is what I like. So I think it's a bit of a gamble, given Fasolo's injury history and, as you say, his spot in the back line where he's scoring quite well.
Yeah.
But at least you know he can play forward and he can get pushed forward.
He's definitely in Collingwood's best 22. I will say that.
It's just his scoring output that could suffer.
Exactly. It's going to depend on which position he plays. If he plays that, you know, that forward pocket, then there might be an issue over his scoring capacity. But if he does spend his time on a half forward, rolls through the midfield or plays off a half back and gets those good rebound 50s, those marks, and hits targets the way he does, probably something to consider.
Yeah, guys, what about Buddy?
Oh,
you guys thought about what to do with Buddy?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think he's a major headache for a lot of people.
Just happy that I didn't start with him.
Look,
Sorry to rub that in.
Everyone sort of jumped on him thinking that going to Sydney he'd be this superstar and they'd pile him up and that'd be it, and he'd be scoring 150 every week.
Good Sydney midfield,
Yeah, look, it hasn't gone as the way everyone planned. He's only averaging 76 at the moment. His BE is 111. He's dropped down to 454,300.
Ouch.
So, he's got Fremantle, Melbourne, and Brisbane coming up,
so
and
a couple of potentially high-scoring games, maybe.
Potentially, but Fremantle probably not.
No.
Melbourne have a good defence.
They got Frawley there. They can throw back again.
Frawley, who was a good defender. And
Brisbane, he should nominate.
Unpredictable.
Yep.
You know, if he's that out of form, maybe not.
Yeah, very true.
And who would you trade him out for? What are some of the options?
So the main option, and this is my man, who I've got in, not for Franklin though this week, Luke Parker. Now he's sitting at 591,600, and I know a lot of people probably got him in the season, or they probably got Mitchell over him. And he's averaging 101. He's got a BE of 101. Okay, so as long as he keeps matching that, he's going to be fine. And his next three, Freo, Melbourne, Brisbane, exactly the same as Franklin. He's a good option because he's got that midfield / forward role.
It's not bad. I like it. I think Parker's a good option. I think he's going to continue playing well, whereas Mitchell, well, I don't know, has second-year blues kicked in? That's the question.
It hurts because I was one of those people that chose Mitchell over Parker, and it was a last-second job. You know, minutes before lockout, I thought, just get on Mitchell. Everyone's getting on him. I got sucked in, followed the sheep, and look what happened.
Yeah, that's what happens.
It hurts. Next player that is causing, or will cause a lot of headaches, I think, is Liam Shields. Now, you've got him.
Your boy.
My man.
He's your man.
He's my man.
I'm not getting rid of him just yet. You chose him ahead of McRae. I think there was a debate out there who was going to score the most over the entirety of the season. And looks as though it may be McRae at this stage, given that Shields is confirmed to miss the next 3 to 4 weeks with an AC injury in his shoulder. So I think he was averaging quite well. He was going up in price steadily. His break-even was 17. So it's very disappointing, but I think you're going to have to trade him out. Unless you've got a solid bench. But even so, you're going to have to rely on the likes of Dunstan, Ellis, who else is there? Pollock. So really, it is up to you. It depends on that, but I would really endorse the trade-in of Jackson McRae.
We've said that every week since we started back for the year, haven't we? Jackson McRae has featured to get him. Yeah,
look, I mean, at the start of the season, it was out of Shields, McRae and Daisy. And obviously, McRae has won. Shields has come second, and Daisy is obviously a big flop at the moment. But look, I mean, I stuck by Shields. He only had one low score of 54. The rest of them around about that 100 mark. Look, he is out for 3 to 4 weeks at the moment. So McRae is the obvious option.
You'd have to go to him.
The only thing with McRae is you're going to have to fork out an extra 60 grand because he's priced at 427,600, but he is averaging 110. His break-even is -5. So you'd want to get on him now. And his next 3, easy beat in my side, Carlton, Adelaide and Essendon. And he's risen over 96,000 so far, and his past 2 scores, 119 and 124. So
good form and good sides coming up to play against.
So. Low break even.
And next player having a look at is Dale Thomas, $364,900, average of 74, a break even of 61, and faces the Bulldogs, West Coast and Collingwood in the next 3 games, and my oh my. Wow. I'm thankful that I traded him last week down to Josh Kelly. That paid dividends. He's only expected to rise $6,000 more. That's it. After this week, he has a higher break even. So if you're thinking about trading him, now is the time to do it because this will be the last week. What's $6,000 to you in SuperCoach? It's nothing. Look, the best option this week, honestly, is to trade him straight down to Matt Crouch, who's on the bubble. He's got an average of 62, but that is sub-affected. So he got off the leash last week and had a pretty good score when he was out of the sub-vest. So he's got a -60 break-even, so that's huge. Next 3, he plays the Giants, the Bulldogs, and the D's. So that's a really good couple of weeks coming up for a player like him. He should be unleashed into that midfield and probably get some good game time there, which should return some good scores. But look, you know, if you want to bank yourself some cash, you're going to make around a lazy 200 grand there. And that one should really pay off. If you missed the boat with Josh Kelly last week, downgrade Daisy straight to Crouch and you're going to make yourself even more money. So really want to consider. I'd love to get on Crouch this week, but I just don't have the room.
I would like to do that also. But moving on to our next segment, the big big question: what to do with Shane Mumford? Now he's been in stellar form. He was averaging more than Ablett, I think.
Yes, he was.
So it hurts. It does hurt. It hurts you especially, Paige, because you traded him in last week.
I last week I made the decision just before lockout. I went Dale Thomas to Josh Kelly and I upgraded Brodie Grundy to Shane Mumford, and it was a bit of an awkward one because although I was thinking at the time on Friday night, yes, Broads has been subbed. I look like a genius now. Yeah, not so much the next day. That was great. I'm going to get into that later anyway. But Mumford, look, there's a lot of us that traded Mumford in this week, and to everyone who did, I absolutely feel your pain because it's I've lost sleep over it. It's killing me. It is I don't know what to do. But look, we're going to have a look at some options, aren't we?
Yes, we are, and it's very unfortunate. I did a similar sort of thing to you. I had Ryder in my side. Was going to trade him to Hickey, and then Hickey got injured. I thought, this is my saving grace. Ended up getting Mumford, and then as it turns out, Mumford got injured as well. So it was bound to happen.
The ruck gods just don't like us whatsoever.
Don't like us. But yes, as for the options, now we've got Jacobs. He's probably the most informed ruckman at the moment. He's priced at 476,400 with an average of 103. So
he's the only informed ruckman. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I think based on that I'm going for him personally. Just based on that.
You can get yourself around 90 to 100 grand there for the downgrade.
Yeah.
Yes, and
which works out nicely.
100% the best option. And also with, I mean, you say he's the only inform. I mean, you got to count in Sanderlands as well.
Most people have got Sanderlands though. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, if you don't have him though, definitely get on him. But as for the other options, we've got Cox at 526,300. So he is. What's that? Another 50 grand more expensive than Jacobs, and he's averaging 94. He's averaging 9 points less. Then we've got Minson, who traditionally is a very good scorer, but he's not in such good SuperCoach form.
He's just started the year off slowly, hasn't he?
I think it will work his way into some good form, so he may be one to look at.
Yep.
But at that price of 563,100, it's a bit of a risk, I think.
What about my boy Goldie?
Yes, Goldstein, he's priced at 534,000 and he's averaging 88. So he's sort of the lower tier of the premiums. But
and that's the only thing that worries me about Goldstein jumping onto him. And it's good because you don't get that. Every player at the moment has got that horrible round 8 bye, which means it's going to be catastrophe for our sides. But with Goldie, I guess he doesn't have that bye. But the other issue remains is Brad Scott going to continue to play Curry in the side? That's the problem. That's going to restrict his scoring.
The other option we spoke of pre-show page was the man that you mentioned. You call him the bum.
Don't say that.
Who is it? Who is it?
We kept mentioning a certain player last year from a certain football club and kept putting the we kept putting the moz on him, and we gave him a lot of stick last year, and players ended up watching that segment and got back to that player, and there was a big incident with that, and it was pretty funny, and he does still watch the show, so you know who you're talking about. But I don't want poor Trent West to see this and go, who does this chick think she is? Trent West is actually a decent option. He's averaging around the 80s. With Leuenberger out for 3 months, he's actually a really good option. And given that Brisbane are going to, they are ravaged by injuries at the moment. If anyone's got job security at the moment in EAFL, it is definitely Trent West.
It's kind of a similar situation to Sean Hampson as well. You could probably call him a bum as well because brought into the Richmond side, you thought with Marich there. Yep. With Marich fit, you would see him as the secondary ruckman, but because Marich is, of course, injured, the burden's now on him. And
the good thing is, if you do look at Hampson, and I will say this, if we go forward maybe a month or so from now and we've got Ivan Marich back in that side who's playing as the number 1 ruck for Richmond, all of a sudden we get Hampson who gets to rotate through the through the forward line and through the ruck as well. So he won't exactly lose his spot, and look, it's better than playing that other bum Tyrone Vickery, but we won't go too much into that. But in a snapshot,
with apart from all of that, with crisis comes opportunity, guys. And at the moment, trading down Mumford for anyone really is going to bank your money.
Yep. It is.
And if you trade him down to Jacobs, you're going to get more money, and he's the best performing one, so that's probably your best option. If you trade him down to Grundy, you're going to get a lot more money, and he's like you said, he's got job security, so at least he's going to keep scoring. And look, then next week maybe you can focus on another part of your team, like the forward line that's not performing as well.
Yep.
if that's the case.
Yeah.
In a snapshot, who would you have if you had to trade Mumford? Who would you trade him to?
I'm going to trade him. I'm going to trade him down to Jacobs.
Yourself?
I don't have him, but if I did, I'd choose Jacobs as well.
I'm really contemplating Trent West. Not even joking.
Go for it.
He can live to bum it up in my side anytime. But
as long as he bums out a few scores.
He does.
He
He can.
scores,
As long as
right.
he pumps out those 80s, I don't really care. But moving on to our next segment, Unique of the Week.
Yes, look, this week it was a toss-up between two players. One of them being a man who plays for Fremantle,
Michael Johnson.
Mr. Michael Johnson,
Mr.
and Curtly Hampton. Now this guy, he's popped up out of nowhere. He's a defender, plays for the GWS, and I'm sure a lot of people probably haven't even really heard his name. If you're not a GWS fan or if you're not following closely, he's 415,300. He's averaging 96.5. He's got a BE.
He's gone boom this year.
BE of 33. So as long as he keeps up scores of 40 and above, he's going to be going up in money.
Get some cash.
His next three is Adelaide, Gold Coast, and Port Adelaide. Three relatively difficult teams, you can say. So you got to sort of weigh up how's he going to go against their forward lines. And what I'd probably do is I'm actually waiting this week to see how he goes against the Adelaide forwards, because I do rate the Adelaide forward line, especially their small forwards, and he's going to be lining up on sort of the smaller guys. So we'll see how we go, but he's only owned by 2,134 coaches, so he's definitely a point of difference.
And must mention, Paige, you came in, you looked a bit on edge, and a few veins popping out of the side of your neck, bald patches in your hair. Have you been ripping out of your hair? What's been going on, Paige?
I'm not happy. I am absolutely fuming. I have had an absolute gutful this week. This has been the worst week I've ever had in SuperCoach, and let me tell you why. The first rocket I am putting up someone's ass is GWS and Leon bloody Cameron. Listen here, Leon, if you're going to name someone on a Thursday bloody night and then decide 2 days later that they're going to go out because of knee surgery, that is an absolute... You're telling me it took you until Saturday morning to realise Shane Mumford's got an injury with his knee. Maybe we should put him into surgery today. I don't buy it. I don't like it. I don't like being lied to, and neither do the SuperCoach community. I am very, very angry with you, Leon. And Mummy, if you're going to come back, I want it in 2 weeks, because if I'm going to keep you, you better come back. I am, you know what, this will happen. Yeah. You know what will happen? Mumford will be out for 6 weeks because Leon Cameron will lie to us again and tell us, oh, the injury was 1 to 2, but no, it's 3 to 4, but now we're going to say 4 to 6. Leon Cameron, don't show yourself in Melbourne around me, pal.
Look, Paige, it sounds like you really like Leon Cameron, but why stop there? Go for go crazy on Carlton and Daisy Thomas.
You know what, Dale? I don't even care. You and I are over. O-V-A-H, over. I don't even care that you don't play for Collingwood anymore. I don't even care that you decide to switch to the worst team in the competition. But what I do care about is the fact that you are an absolute gutless bloody wonder who went for an average of 100, who is now pushing out a score that's worse than Viv Mishy's scores. And Viv Mishy's injured. I mean, look, honestly...
I think Daisy will be injured after this round.
I'll tell you what,
His
Mick...
ego will be injured.
Mick, if you had a set there, you would drop your little princess because he's absolutely playing like one. And secondly, Daisy, you have fooled us all. You fooled us all into a false sense of security that you might actually do something this year. You are nothing, mate. Nothing. Nothing. You're out of my side. You're gone from Rampage. That's it. I've had enough of you.
He's masquerading like football, isn't he? But another bloke. What about that captain at Richmond?
Mate, I tell you what, talk about gutless bloody wonders. You're a sook, Trent Cotchin. I don't like you one bit, even though that you're in my side. If you're going to run around throwing your arms up in the air asking for a free kick, why don't you bloody pull your finger out and do something instead of whinging the whole time? Better yet, where are his bloody teammates? Where are his teammates? I mean, look, McCaffer put the glove on him, and from a Collingwood perspective, that was great to watch. And it was great to watch the Richmond fans talking it up. But seriously, in SuperCoach, all bets are off. 56 points from a player of Cotchin's ability. is ridiculous. Learn to handle a tag, or you're out of my side. I have to stop. I'm not happy.
I think we have to wind you back up again, Paige. You've run out of...
I'm not happy. I tell you what, you're all fired. Fired. I've had enough.
Okay, yeah. Let's go.
What are we up to?
That was not written. Tweet of the week now. We'll move on to. And Paige.
Should she go first? I don't know if she should go
that's
first.
All right, I'm calm now. I feel like
I've gotten...
I feel like I've...
You've vented.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm good.
You got me a little bit excited, but...
Up yours, Daisy.
Oh,
anyway.
All right.
Keegan, I can't pronounce the last name, Keegan.
I think it's McElhone.
That's a Macklemore. Keegan Macklemore.
We'll go with that.
Hashtag SCP show. Best replacement for Pierce Hanley. I'm also in the same boat here. I'm jumping on Matthew Jench. Although if you don't have Sam Mitchell, I would highly advise getting him. But for the cash grab, I like Genchy and he hasn't let me down with those scores so far. So if you've got him, I would highly recommend.
100%. I like Keegan's at Cakesticles. It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very creative.
Well
good
done.
spot.
Well done, Keegan.
There you go.
Oh,
Next tweet is the one that I've got. Sent in by Paul at convo_23. Like his little avatar there as well. I do recognise him. It's the Beatles. He says, I do digress. Dale Thomas has still got a low break even. Should I hold on to him or trade him?
Get rid of him.
You want to keep him though, don't you, Paige? Based upon what you said.
Yeah, you love the guy.
You're next. Paige's rage. I tell you what, you're next week.
Oh god. Okay, well, I would
get rid of him.
Yes, get rid of him. Get rid of him, and I would probably. It's a bit hard to upgrade him though, unless you got the cash.
Yeah, there's really no one to upgrade to.
He's priced still at $360-ish, wasn't it? So unless you got the money to upgrade him to someone decent like a McRae, my boy McRae, I would look at downgrading him.
Yeah, I still like Matt Crouch for him.
Matt Crouch, definitely 117,000, and been busting out some decent scores. So I'd definitely look at him and use him as a cash cow because Daisy is neither a cash cow or a premium, and he's not even a mid-price player at the moment. So
shit,
get rid of him.
Daniel Turton is the next guy in the at Turts14. That's a good one as well. I like the tweet names this week. What do they call them? The handles.
Yeah.
Clutching at straws this bloke.
Is it worth bringing in Jay Kelly since Whitfield is back soon? Will he get more money than Aish? Straight swap at this stage, he asks. Now,
hasn't Kelly already gone up in price though? You've sort of missed the boat on that one.
Yeah, unfortunately. Look, but you're probably best to jump on him right now because he's just going to continue to rise. And if you don't get him now, then you're going to be stuffed, aren't you, in a few weeks? And then when it comes to the stage where Kelly's actually performing out of his skin and he's getting in the hundreds and everyone's regretting not getting him in when he was a bubble boy, then you're going to be eating your hat. And it's not going to be chocolate.
It's not going to be chocolate.
Unfortunately.
No. I don't know. But look, if you want to get involved with the tweet of the week, make sure you reply to our tweets on Twitter using the hashtag SCP show, and the best ones each week will be on. But look, in terms of content, I think we're all out. I'm done. I need to go take a breather.
Yeah, you do.
I'm
cool down, have a cold shower.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got probably about another half hour's worth. Do you want to keep going?
I could reel off names all night if you'd like a good rant, because I need a vent. So I've got a lot of people have pissed me off this week.
You'd like a cone of silence to come down next time. You just scream into that whilst we run the show.
Yeah, that's probably convenient. But look, until then, hope your team does much better this week. Hope you get some good scores, and we'll see you back next week for round 6 with a special guest appearing on the show.
We'll go for
so stay tuned for that one. We'll see you next week. Catch you later.
Yeah.
Bye.